The energies of 2022 can be summed up in the word completion. It's quite easy to make assumptions about the word completion, so we're asking that no one does that, and instead let us define that word. Completion doesn't just refer to finishing a project or checking something off your to-do list. Completion refers specifically to, and in this case more to, the idea of finishing, ending, concluding old patterns. I am done with blank. I am complete. That thing that I wanted to learn, or I chose to learn, or I am learning from blank, I have learned enough of that. There's a strong temptation in the human form to imagine that you need to keep going until you've learned every single little bit of it. And you don't do this with things like math or English, right? When you're in school, you don't say, I have to take every single math class, or I have to take every single English class they offer. You take the ones you need for what to support you in moving forward in the way you want to move. Lots and lots and lots of you have been in what you think is a school or a class. People will refer to it as Earth School, right? And you've said, well, this thing I'm doing, I'm learning a lot, so I'll keep doing it because I'm learning a lot. Or I'll keep doing it because it's still teaching me something. And the opportunity of 2022, especially the first half of 2022, is to recognize, I've actually learned all I need to learn here. I don't need to take every single math class. I've learned the math I need. I don't have to take every single English class. I've got the English I need. I don't have to take every single science class. I have the science I need. Completion. Recognizing that the ways that you have decided you need to operate as a human being in the world may have run their course. You may have learned all you need to learn. You may be done with the study of whatever it is. So especially in any situation in your life where you've said, well, this is still, I'm still learning something here. We want you to take a real strong look at that notion and ask yourself and sit with the unfolding clarity about, is there really more water in this well? Or am I just habitually dropping the bucket down, expecting that the few dribbles and drops that I can get are actually adding to my personal evolution? Because at some point, you are pointing your capacity. This is one of Veronica's favorite words currently. Your capacity is your energy, your time, your financial resources, your creativity, your physical strength, right? Your hours that you're awake, all add together into what she likes to call capacity. Can you hear the cat snoring? She's very loud, isn't she? And your capacity is then pointed at things. So you might point it at getting a degree, or point it at buying a house, or pointing at meeting somebody new to spend time with, or point it at doing charity work, right? You take your capacity and you point it at things. We caution all of you to reflect upon the idea that you have been pointing your capacity in things that you consider lessons. And that you might just be done. Even if you can see that there's more lessons there, you might have already gotten enough that you can reorient your capacity to something else. And say, it's sufficient. What I have learned there is sufficient to fuel my next phase of my life. Completion. You don't have to get every drop out of the well in order to fill your cup. And one of the ways personality dictates your experience is by continuing to say, oh, no, there's something more here. There's something more here. No, there's something more here. Have you already gotten as much as you need to get in order to fulfill the evolutionary need? Because remember, it's not can I take every math class. It's can I move on to becoming a scientist? Do I have enough math to be the scientist I wish to be? Not have I taken every math class that God has ever invented. Not God, but the university offers. Or every school in America offers. Have I taken every single math class? Because there's still some math I should learn, or I should try again and make sure I get better this time. Don't let personality trick you into imagining that that's the only path. Take what you have learned and recognize if there's completion, so you can point your capacity towards something else that will further your evolutionary journey, rather than just dig in a bit deeper on something that you already have used for your evolution. Completion. A lot of things, especially in the first half of the year, a lot of things will be coming up for you to say, and that was enough. Veronica's example with Facebook, that was enough. The gains, the connections and the gains and the this and the that's that I received from Facebook no longer support my evolution. Using Facebook no longer supports my evolution. Therefore, even though there's more to learn about Facebook and more people to connect with and more things to do, I am going to point my capacity elsewhere, because there's nothing more that's facilitating my evolution there for me at this time. Completion, right? Completion. We believe that this energy of completion will also facilitate things that maybe you have projects that you've been working on, or ideas that you've wanted to put into the world. We believe this energy will also facilitate that. But it's primarily about saying, and I am done with blank. And one of the reasons that's true is because personality is not gripping you the way it was before. So it's really easy to start seeing, yeah, I was only doing that for personality reasons. I was only doing that for personality reasons. I was only doing that for personality reasons. And so those things automatically just, get tied off. Completed. I no longer need to do blank because I was only doing it for personality reasons in the first place. Completion. The way this energy moves in your world will be really fascinating to see, because there's a lot of things unfinished in your world. There's a lot of loose ends in your world in various ways. And we mean in your wider world, not just in your life, but in your wider world. So it's very interesting to see how this energy of completion shows up in the Big B body. And it's also tidy, right? Having these unconnected loops and these unfinished ideas floating around in the world all the time. It's tidier if we don't have a whole bunch of undone stuff. So there'll be a lot, we believe, of completion, of resolutions, of finishing. And finished things are the beginning of the next thing, right? So there'll be finishing and then starting again. Finishing and then starting again. Finishing and then starting again. But we believe that starting again will be profoundly in new directions. That's the other thing that happens, is because the thing that you are completing was based on personality, and the pointing of your capacity will be done by choiceless choice and tidy timings. It can go any direction. The field of infinite possibilities is your playground. Who knows what will rise up and bubble up to be explored. So don't be surprised if you and others that you know start doing things that are seemingly in very brand new, super like, whoa, directions. Just doing something unexpected. Because when personality is not in charge, you're in the field of infinite possibilities, choiceless choice and tidy timings, you're literally anything goes. Anything is possible. And when you free up a whole bunch of capacity because you close off and complete a whole bunch of things that previously were only being done because personality was saying you needed to do them, whoo, now, the sky's the limit. And even that's not really true. It's just a saying you have. So completion. So someone make a calendar note to remind us at the middle of the year, let's say June 1st, to check in on the energies of the second half of the year, because this is really the first half of the year energy. And so let's check in. Would it be July 1st? Whatever. You guys figure it out. Someone remind us back down the road, and we'll do the second half of the year when we get there. This is for the first half of the year. Completion. And it's funny because personality thinks completion is one thing, like the to-do list kind of idea. But it's really crossing personality off your to-do list. And not just surrendering it and submitting it, but recognizing that I don't need to keep having this thing happen, because the reason that thing's happening is only personality. Personality does have a lot to say about that. You know why? Because personality is the one that gets booted, right? This is taking all of the things that you have learned about surrendering and submitting, and not just containing it inside yourself, right? It's not just internal contemplation. It's life change. Capacity pointing transformation. Right? The way you have pointed your capacity saying, I don't need to keep doing that because I was always doing that because of personality telling me to do it. I'm tempted to see the fact that you only covered the first half of 2022 as a sign of evolution speeding up. Well, evolution is definitely speeding up, but the reason we did the first half of 2022 is because this is really loud right now, and it drowns out anything else. But we don't think that you're going to need, a full calendar year to conclude these things. You don't need a full year to say, yeah, I shouldn't. No, I'm not doing that anymore. We figure you guys will knock that out pretty quick once you start doing it. Because it's not like you guys have 100 of these things. You probably have half a dozen at the most, where you're like, okay. When you see how personality is showing up in your big B body. A lot of times we talk about how personality shows up inside your thoughts or your emotions or your habits, right? But this is how is personality showing up in how I move around the world. So it's a different way of talking about personality, which we always need because personality is so prevalent. Habituating. I'm having experiences of moving into completion, yet find lingering threads. Personality really wants to mess with the lingering threads. Exactly. And we bet those lingering threads are primarily dry wells. But personality would have you lower that bucket over and over again anyway. That's what we're talking about, right? If there's nothing to be gained and you're making up reasons why you're doing it, are you going to listen to personality? Or are you going to recognize that you keep putting a bucket down a dry well, expecting something to change? And it's challenging because it's disorienting uncertainty, but okay, it's disorienting uncertainty. What else is new? You're getting used to disorienting uncertainty because you recognize that it's the unfolding now. That's movement. Of course that's disorienting, and it's uncertain because you can't know what's going to happen. Because if you did know what was happening, it would be predicted by personality. Are you only getting something that feeds personality out of the lesson that you're learning or the action you're taking? Or are you actually evolving through the experience? Now, that might be difficult to discern at first, but if you keep asking yourself that question, you'll start to see. Because Veronica could be like, well, I'm evolving on Facebook because the last time someone said something mean to me, it didn't trigger me. Come on. Is that really the best use of your capacity? For her, the answer is of course not. When you can point your capacity in an infinite number of directions, are you actually getting water out of that well? Or are you just listening to the bucket hit the bottom over and over again and imagining that equals progress? Do you feel your energetic leadership and your emanation and your unfolding now being experienced in whatever you're doing? Or are you just in level 6 hoping that you're not triggered too badly? It's taking all the things we've been studying and seeing what they look like as they walk around in the world, in the marketplace. Not just internally.